The grandfather clock in the corner of my childhood home marks each second with the same steady tick it's kept since 1962. I stand frozen in the living room, phone clutched against my chest, while my mother's voice carries from the kitchen with the scent of Earl Grey tea. You need to reconsider your wedding plans. Hannah, Madison sprawls on the antique sofa, her mascara smeared beneath reddened eyes. A tissue shreds between her fingers. The November sun catches my engagement ring, scattering light across the wall. 3 days ago, that light felt like a beacon of hope. Diane returns with a silver tea tray, the one she brings out when she wants to soften bad news. Madison is absolutely devastated about your announcement timing. The carefully selected photo album of Liam's proposal sits untouched on the coffee table. Inside, crisp autumn leaves frame our happiest moment. My fingers itch to open it, to show them the pure joy captured in those images, but Madison's next words freeze me in place. You couldn't wait just a few more months. Her voice cracks. You know what I've been through. The room spins as understanding dawns. They've transformed my engagement into an attack on Madison. My throat tightens as I remember 3 days ago, standing among fallen leaves in the Sierra Crest Mountains. Liam knelt before me, his hands steady as he held out a vintage sapphire ring. 6 years together, he had said. And you've never asked for the spotlight. But you deserve to shine, Hannah. We'd planned everything so carefully. A modest February wedding, 80 guests. No elaborate pageantry, just us, surrounded by the people we love most. The memory dissolves as my mother sets a teacup before me with practiced precision. Did you even think about how this would affect your sister? I'd driven here full of hope, imagining their excitement. The disappointment on Diane's face when I shared the news still burns. She had congratulated me, yes, but her eyes had already shifted toward Madison's bedroom door. But how will Madison handle this? Those words, so familiar they could be our family motto. I feel myself shrinking, shoulders curving inward, an old habit resurfaces, the need to apologize for taking up space. I can't believe you're doing this. Madison launches to her feet. Everything always works out for you. Diane rushes to comfort her, one hand stroking Madison's hair while shooting me a disapproving glance. My wedding planning notebook slips from my lap, pages of careful sketches and lists scattering across the floor. As I scramble to collect them, my gaze catches on the family photos lining the wall. My high school graduation photo, tucked in a small frame near the bottom. Above it, Madison's Sweet 16 portrait dominates in an ornate gold frame. My master's degree celebration snapshot, barely visible behind a potted fern. Madison's first job photo centered on the wall. The visual evidence of a lifetime spent stepping back, making room, shrinking myself to prop up my sister's fragile ego. I picked February because it's off-season, I hear myself explaining, hating the tremor in my voice. The venue was available, and February was supposed to be my fresh start. Madison's voice rises. My therapy group planned. That's enough. Diane's tone carries the weight of final judgment. Hannah, your sister needs this time to heal. Surely you can postpone. The grandfather clock strikes 3, each chime reverberating through my bones. I look down at my engagement ring, at the delicate vintage setting Liam chose because he said it reminded him of my quiet strength. Quiet strength. The words echo as I gather my scattered wedding notes, watching a page of venue options slide under the sofa. I think of Liam waiting at home, probably grading papers at our kitchen table, ready to hear how my family celebrated our news. I'll think about it, I whisper, but the words taste like betrayal. Diane nods, already turning back to Madison. That's all we're asking, honey. Just think of your sister. Just think of your sister. I've spent 31 years thinking of my sister. Every achievement dimmed. Every celebration postponed. Every dream carefully folded and tucked away to avoid casting a shadow on Madison's spotlight. The engagement ring catches the light again as I reach for my coat. Not a beacon now. but a question. Would I shrink my joy one more time to protect someone else's feelings? The grandfather clock ticks on, marking each second I stand in the doorway. Behind me, Diane murmurs comforting words to Madison. Ahead of me lies the path to my car, to Liam, to a decision that will change everything. I close the door softly behind me, the way I've closed every door in this house. Quietly, carefully, always mindful of others. But something shifts in my chest as I walk to my car. A crack in the foundation of my familiar role. A whisper of rebellion against the pattern of a lifetime. The key turns in the ignition, and I catch my reflection in the rearview mirror. In my eyes, I see a question I've never dared to ask. What if, just this once, I chose my own light? The windshield wipers sweep back and forth, fighting a losing battle against my tears. Traffic signals blur into watercolor smears as I navigate the familiar route home. 6 missed calls from Diane light up my phone screen. I silence the 7th. A memory surfaces my high school graduation, Principal Hernandez calling my name for the valedictorian speech. Diane's hand shooting up from the audience, beckoning me down from the podium after barely 2 minutes. Madison's having one of her bad days. Honey, we need to go. The stoplight turns red. My fingers clench the steering wheel, knuckles white against black leather. The radio plays an old Beatles song. Here Comes the Sun. I snap it off. College graduation, 4 years later, the celebration dinner I'd planned for months, down to the cake with sugar roses that matched my honors cords, the phone call an hour before. Madison failed her spring semester. Diane's voice, thick with tears. We can't celebrate right now. You understand, don't you? I always understood. My phone buzzes. Liam's text glows on the screen. How did it go? 3 dots appear as he types another message. I love you. Drive safe. The parking spot outside our apartment building swims into view. Celebration balloons from 3 days ago still bob against the ceiling in our living room window. The sight of them sends fresh tears spilling down my cheeks. Liam opens the door before I can reach for my keys. One look at my face and he wraps me in his arms, the soft flannel of his shirt catching my tears. They didn't take it well. A laugh escapes me, bitter as coffee grounds. Diane thinks we should scale back the wedding, make it smaller, less noticeable. My voice cracks. Madison needs February for her fresh start. Liam guides me to our couch, the old green one we found at a yard sale last summer. My engagement ring catches the late afternoon light, sending prisms dancing across the wall. More tears blur the rainbow colors into a smear. Tell me everything, he whispers. The story spills out between sobs. Diane's disapproval, Madison's tears, the weight of 31 years of shrinking myself pressing down on my chest until I can hardly breathe. My phone chimes again. Diane's 12th missed call. A text follows. Hannah, be reasonable. Your sister needs support right now. What about a small courthouse ceremony? Liam reads the message over my shoulder, his jaw tightening. He kneels beside the couch, taking my hands in his. This time, we're putting you first. The words unlock something in my chest. A sob tears loose. Then another. Years of swallowed celebrations fighting their way up my throat. My promotion last spring. The dinner announcement interrupted by Madison's latest crisis. Another failed relationship. Another need for Diane to rush to her rescue. My careful PowerPoint presentation about communication strategies sitting untouched on my laptop while Diane helped Madison craft angry texts to her ex. The phone rings again. Not Diane this time, Aunt Cheryl, Thomas's sister. I almost let it go to voicemail. But Liam squeezes my hand. Answer it. She's always been in your corner. Hannah. Aunt Cheryl's voice carries the familiar Kentucky lilt that always reminded Thomas of home. Emily told me what happened at your mother's house. I didn't mean to cause trouble. The old reflex kicks in apologize first, exist second. Stop that right now. Steel enters her tone. You're allowed to be happy. Your father would be horrified to see how they're treating you. The mention of Thomas sends fresh tears spilling. I curl deeper into the couch cushions, phone pressed to my ear. I don't know what to do. Yes, you do. Cheryl's voice softens. You're just scared to do it. My phone chirps with an incoming text. Emily, I've watched this happen for 15 years. It's not right. Don't let them steal your joy. Liam disappears into our spare room and returns with the wedding planning book. He sets it on the coffee table, pages falling open to venue options. My handwritten notes line the margins, guest list ideas, flower choices, the beginning of our vows. My hands shake as I trace the words. Maybe we should just elope. Liam reaches under the coffee table and pulls out a leather-bound journal I've never seen before. The pages fall open to his familiar handwriting. September 2019, Hannah's museum exhibit opening. Diane called about Madison's fender bender. Hannah left early to help. December 2020, Hannah's article published. Celebration dinner canceled when Madison lost her job. March 2022, Hannah's promotion. Family dinner became 3 hours of crisis counseling for Madison's breakup. The list goes on, page after page, every achievement dimmed, every celebration postponed, every dream carefully folded and tucked away. I started writing them down, Liam says quietly, because I needed you to see the pattern someday, when you were ready. The bathroom mirror reflects my tear-stained face, red eyes, smeared mascara, but something else too, a spark of defiance in my father's hazel eyes. Aunt Cheryl's voice echoes in my memory. You're allowed to be happy. Emily's text glows on my phone. Don't let them steal your joy. The wedding invitation sample sits on our kitchen counter. Cream-colored paper with elegant script. Hannah Brooks and Liam Carter request the pleasure of your company. My hand hovers over Diane's contact photo. The familiar guilt rises, the need to apologize, to make peace, to shrink myself small enough to avoid casting shadows. But Liam's journal lies open on the coffee table, the evidence of a lifetime spent stepping back, written in his steady hand. The engagement ring catches the light again, and this time I let the rainbow prisms dance. I take a deep breath and press call. Whatever comes next, I won't apologize for shining. The Tuesday morning sun streams through the cafe windows, casting long shadows across the polished wood tables. My mother selected this place-neutral ground, she called it, as if we're negotiating a hostage situation. My untouched vanilla latte grows cold, while Madison's tears sprinkle the leather booth between us. You're being selfish about this wedding. Diane's words slice through the quiet jazz music floating from hidden speakers. A couple at the next table shifts uncomfortably, their newspapers rising like shields. I focus on my engagement ring, the vintage sapphire catching morning light. 6 years with Liam taught me the difference between peace and silence. My fingers trace the delicate setting, remembering his words about quiet strength. I was trying to be supportive. Madison's voice wavers. But it hurts so much. Hannah, you know February was supposed to be my fresh start after everything with Marcus. The familiar weight settles in my chest, that leaden mix of guilt and resentment I've carried since childhood. My throat tightens as I watch Diane's hand cover Madison's, their matching rose gold bracelets clicking together. Christmas gifts from 2 years ago, when I'd received a scarf. Sweetheart. Diane leans forward. Her perfume, the same Elizabeth Taylor white diamonds she's worn since 1992, wrapping around me like a snare. We're just asking you to consider the family's needs. Your sister is in a very fragile place. The words echo across decades. Madison's in a fragile place. Madison needs extra attention. Madison can't handle this right now. My coffee cup rattles against its saucer. The couple behind their newspaper fortress sneaks another glance. This is my wedding day. The words emerge steady, surprising even me. I've chosen a date that works for Liam and me. Diane's fingers whiten around her cup. Hannah Elizabeth Quinn. I raised you to think of others. No. The syllable hangs between us. You raised me to think of Madison. Madison's tears vanish. Her eyes narrow as she realizes sympathy isn't working. You've always been so perfect, haven't you? Little Miss Straight A's who never causes problems. Must be nice to have everything work out exactly like you want. That's not fair, Diane interjects, but her hand stays on Madison's arm. The familiar spark of anger in my chest catches fire. All those carefully buried moments flash through my mind, my valedictorian speech cut short because Madison was having a bad day. My college graduation dinner becoming about her latest breakup. Every achievement carefully wrapped in apology. I stand, my chair scraping against hardwood. The newspaper couple openly stares now, the woman's fork frozen halfway to her mouth. I've spent my life making room for Madison's feelings. My voice carries across the cafe. And for once, I don't try to soften it. I dimmed every celebration, swallowed every accomplishment, stepped back from every spotlight. Not anymore. Hannah. Diane stands too, her face flushed. Your father would be so disappointed in this behavior. The words slam into me like a physical blow, but instead of crumbling, I feel something shift tectonic plates of guilt grinding against 3 decades of suppressed truth. Thomas taught me to stand tall. The memory of him straightening my shoulders before a piano recital floods back. I'm finally doing it. You can't possibly, Madison starts, but I cut her off. The wedding is in February. You're welcome to attend as my guests, supporting my happiness, or you can stay home. But I won't change the date, and I won't apologize for celebrating my engagement. Diane's mouth opens and closes. For the first time in my memory, she seems unsure of her script. We're your family. Yes, you are. I gather my purse, the leather warm and solid in my hands. And families should lift each other up, not tear each other down to maintain the balance. A movement catches my eye through the window. Liam leans against our old Volvo, his tall frame relaxed but alert. He insisted on waiting outside. Just in case, he'd said, understanding more than I'd told him. Hannah, please. Diane's voice cracks. Think about what you're doing to this family. I am. I leave enough cash on the table to cover all our drinks. I'm showing Madison that she's strong enough to handle other people's joy. I'm showing you that enabling her isn't love. And I'm showing myself that I deserve to shine. The walk to the door feels endless. Every step echoes with memories of backing down, of making myself small. The newspaper couple watches my exit, the woman's eyes bright with something that looks like recognition. My phone buzzes as I push through the glass doors. Aunt Cheryl's text glows on the screen. I heard what happened. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. Your dad would be too. Liam straightens as I approach, his face questioning. Behind me, I hear the cafe door open, Diane calling my name. But Liam's arms open, and I step into them instead of turning back. You okay? He murmurs into my hair. No. The truth feels strange on my tongue. But I will be. My phone chimes again. Messages from old friends light up the screen. Julie from college, Natalie from work, cousins I haven't heard from in months. Word travels fast in a small town. Their messages form a chorus of support, years of silent witnesses finally speaking up. Let's go look at that venue. Liam's keys jingle as he opens my door. The coordinator said she could meet us early. I slide into the passenger seat, catching a glimpse of Diane and Madison through the cafe window. They huddle together at our abandoned table, roles reversed as Diane dabs at her eyes while Madison stares straight ahead. Fury etched in every line of her face. The sight would have sent me running back a week ago, scrambling to smooth ruffled feelings. But today, I reach for Liam's hand and let him guide us away from the cafe, away from the old pattern, toward the future we're choosing together. My engagement ring catches the morning sun, throwing light across the dashboard. Not a spotlight to dim, but a beacon leading home to myself. The security guard's boots click against the polished floor of Evergreen Solutions' lobby. From behind my desk, I watch Madison sob into a tissue, her mascara creating abstract patterns on her cheeks. A small crowd of coworkers pretends not to stare. "Miss, I'll need you to leave the premises." The guard's voice carries the weight of authority earned through years of handling situations exactly like this. Madison's voice rises, piercing the professional calm of the office. "She's my sister. I just want to talk to my sister." My fingers hover over the phone, ready to call Liam, but his words from last night echo in my mind. "You're stronger than you think, Hannah." The guard steps closer to Madison. "Ma'am, if you don't leave voluntarily, we'll have to escort you out." Madison's eyes lock onto mine, wounded and accusing. "How can you let them treat me like this after everything we've been through?" The word "we" sticks in my throat. Every crisis, every drama, every tearful scene, always perfectly timed to coincide with my moments of joy, my high school graduation, my college acceptance, my first promotion, and now, my wedding. My phone buzzes. A text from Aunt Debbie. "Think about what this wedding is doing to your family." 3 similar messages wait unopened from cousins I haven't spoken to in years. Madison rises, swaying slightly, her voice carrying across the lobby. "My sister is getting married without me, my own sister." The guard moves forward, but I stand up. "No, I'll handle this." Walking across the lobby feels like crossing a battlefield. Every eye follows my progress. My sensible heels tap against the floor steady, certain, the rhythm of my father's watch when he'd wind it each morning. "Madison," my voice comes out stronger than I expect. "You need to leave." "But Hannah, now." The word carries no anger, no drama, just certainty. She takes a step back, surprise flickering across her tear-stained face. "Diane was right. You've changed." "Yes." The simple truth of it settles in my chest. "I have." The guard escorts her out. Through the glass doors, I watch her fumble with her phone, no doubt already crafting the social media post about families torn apart. Back at my desk, I open Facebook. There it is, a photo of Madison and me from Christmas, captioned with a paragraph about sisterly bonds destroyed by pride. The comments flood in, distant relatives and family friends offering sympathy and shock. My cursor hovers over the keyboard. 6 years of communications work has taught me the power of words. I type a single sentence. Hannah Brooks and Liam Carter joyfully announce their upcoming February wedding. Add a simple photo of us from the engagement. Click post. That afternoon, my therapist's office wraps around me like a warm blanket. Dr. Patel's kind eyes watch as I describe the morning's events. "Your mother learned these tactics from her mother," she says, "and her mother before her, tears as weapons, guilt as currency, love with conditions. I always thought I was protecting them by staying small." The tissue in my hands shreds, just like Madison's had this morning. But I was protecting myself, wasn't I? From having to face their reaction if I ever stood up straight. And now I'm planning my wedding. A smile tugs at my lips. The invitations went out yesterday. 80 guests, string quartet, garden venue, everything Liam and I wanted. My phone lights up. A message from Emily. "You won't believe what Madison's telling people about the wedding. She's planning to make a scene, show up uninvited, says she'll expose you." "Doctor," Patel watches me read the message. "What are you feeling right now?" "Relief." The answer surprises me, because now I know exactly what to do. That evening, Liam and I sit with the wedding planner, Melissa, in her cozy office. The wall behind her desk displays photos of happy couples. "Security isn't uncommon these days," Melissa says, sliding a contract across her desk. "Especially for smaller, intimate ceremonies. We'll have 2 plainclothes officers. Professional, discreet. They'll handle any uninvited guests without creating a scene." Liam's hand finds mine as I sign. His fingers are warm, steady. Like him. At home. My phone rings. Diane's number. The voicemail she leaves drips with tears. How could you do this to your sister? A Christmas card arrives. Though it's barely November. Inside, Madison poses in our old family room, looking forlorn beside the Christmas tree. Missing my sister during the holidays. The inscription reads. The postmark shows Diane mailed it the day after our cafe confrontation. The manipulation grows more desperate. A package arrives containing my grandmother's yellowed wedding veil, accompanied by a note in Diane's handwriting. Family traditions matter more than pride. The veil smells of mothballs and guilt. I pack it carefully, address it back to Diane's house. The note I include reads, You're right, traditions matter. I'm starting new ones. Walking into my favorite bookstore that Saturday, I spot them immediately. Diane and Madison, pretending to browse the self-help section. Their eyes light up with manufactured surprise. Hannah, what a coincidence. I turn around, walk out. Behind me, Madison calls. We just want to talk. That night, I draft an email. The words flow easily now, each one a brick in the wall I'm finally building. Diane and Madison, the wedding will proceed as planned on February 15th. You are not invited. Security will be present. Any attempt to attend or disrupt the ceremony will result in removal from the premises. I love you both, but I love myself too, and that's no longer negotiable. Hannah. My finger hovers over send, 6 months ago. Even thinking these words would have felt impossible. But 6 months ago, I was still the little girl who thought love meant making herself invisible. I press send. The grandfather clock in our apartment, a housewarming gift from Aunt Cheryl, strikes 10. Each chime sounds like freedom, like choice, like the word no finally given its full voice. Liam brings me tea, sits beside me on the couch. You okay? I look at my reflection in the dark window. The woman looking back is neither bent nor broken. She's just standing up straight. At last. Yes, I say. I really am. The grandfather clock chimes 7 times in the bridal suite of Willow Grove Estate, through leaded glass windows. February sunlight spills across the antique vanity where Aunt Cheryl pins the last tendril of my hair in place. There. She steps back, eyes glistening. You look radiant. Hannah. My reflection catches me off guard. The simple white gown with its vintage lace bodice transforms me into someone both familiar and new. Someone who finally takes up the right amount of space. Emily bursts through the door, phone clutched in her hand. They're coming anyway. Diane just texted me. The words hit like ice water. Diane and Madison, determined to force their way into my wedding day. My stomach clenches, but my hands remain steady as I adjust my father's watch, carefully pinned inside my bouquet. I've got security posted at every entrance, Aunt Cheryl says, her tone brooking no argument. They won't get past the gate. A knock at the door reveals Liam, still in jeans and his favorite faded Eagles t-shirt. One look at my face and he's across the room, strong hands gripping mine. Hey. His voice anchors me. Whatever happens out there, this is our day. Nobody can take that from us. The window overlooks the courtyard where our simple decorations catch morning light white lanterns and garden roses, exactly as we planned. My gaze fixes on the horizon where the Sierra Crest Mountains rise, solid and unchanging. A commotion erupts at the main gate. Even from here, I recognize Madison's theatrical wail. She's my sister. You can't keep me from my sister's wedding. I move to the window. Diane and Madison stand at the security checkpoint, dressed as if for a society gala. Diane's wine-colored gown sparkles with too many sequins. Madison's white dress screams for attention. Please! Diane begs the security guard. We're family. Surely you understand. The guard, a retired police officer named Officer Rayner, remains unmoved. I have strict instructions, ma'am. Your names aren't on the guest list. Hannah. Madison's voice rises another octave. Hannah, how could you do this to me? Aunt Cheryl's hand finds my shoulder. You don't have to watch this. But I can't look away. 3 months ago, their performance would have shattered me. Now I see the manipulation for what it is, desperate attempts to regain control they never should have had. "I'm staying right here," I say. Liam wraps his arms around my waist, and we watch together as Officer Rayner calmly but firmly escorts them toward the parking lot. Diane's final attempt at guilt echoes across the courtyard. "I carried you for 9 months, I changed every diaper. And I spent 31 years trying to repay that debt," I whisper to the glass. "Not anymore." The bridal suite door opens again. My wedding coordinator, Natalie, radiates calm efficiency. "Everyone's seated. Your friends are ready with the music. It's time." I turn from the window, catching my reflection one last time. The morning light illuminates my face, and I recognize my father's quiet strength in my eyes. "Yes," I say. "It's time." The ceremony unfolds exactly as we planned. 80 chairs filled with people who genuinely celebrate our joy. When I reach Liam at the altar, his eyes shine with tears and pride. Our vows ring with honest promises. No grand gestures or theatrical declarations, just two people choosing each other, promising to build something real. "I choose you," Liam says, his voice steady and sure. "Your joy, your dreams, your light. I choose all of you, exactly as you are." "I choose us," I reply, feeling the weight of my father's watch against the roses in my bouquet. "I choose truth over peace, growth over comfort, and love that makes us both stronger." The reception glows with genuine warmth. Laughter rises from every table. No one performs for attention or manufactures drama. Just family and friends sharing food, wine, and stories. Aunt Cheryl's toast brings happy tears. To Hannah and Liam, who showed us that love requires courage. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is simply be ourselves and let our light shine. Later, between dances, Emily pulls me aside. Her words strike deep. "You've changed everything, Hannah. The whole family dynamic. Watching you stand firm these past months." She squeezes my hand. "You've shown us all what's possible when we stop accepting the unacceptable." The February sun sets behind the mountains as Liam and I share our last dance. His arms feel like home, a place where I never have to shrink or apologize for taking up space. "Have I told you how proud I am of you?" he murmurs against my hair. "Once or twice." I smile up at him. "But I'm proud of me too. That's the difference." Through the windows, stars begin to appear. Their light reminds me of something Thomas used to say when I was small. "Some stars shine so bright, sweet pea, they can't help but outshine the moon. Don't ever let anyone convince you to dim your light." For the first time in my life, I feel truly, completely free. Not because Diane and Madison's drama has ended, it probably hasn't, but because I finally understand that their issues belong to them, not me. I rest my head on Liam's shoulder as we sway to the music behind us. The grandfather clock strikes 9, each chime ringing with possibility. This time, I don't count the hours until someone else's crisis. This time, I simply dance, holding close to the joy I've chosen, the boundaries I've drawn, and the love I finally believe I deserve. Some bridges, once burned, light the way forward. The grandfather clock in my childhood home used to mark time in measures of guilt. Now, standing in my own dining room 3 months after the wedding, its rescued twin counts moments of freedom. The antique timepiece was a surprise from Aunt Cheryl, delivered to our apartment the day Liam and I returned from our honeymoon. "Your father would want you to have it," she'd said, her eyes bright with unshed tears. "He always meant for it to be yours." Sunlight streams through open windows, catching the brass pendulums swing. Outside, cherry blossoms scatter across our patio where Liam arranges chairs for our first hosted Thanksgiving. The sight of him humming as he works brings an unexpected ache of joy to my chest. The kitchen timer chimes. I pull a golden-crusted apple pie from the oven, remembering how I'd almost canceled this gathering last night. Old habits whispered their familiar warnings. What if it's not perfect? What if people compare it to Diane's Thanksgiving? What if... What if, what if? But this morning, I woke to find Liam had already started the turkey. His reading glasses fogged as he basted the bird. "I've got your back," he'd said, not looking up from his task. "Always." A knock at the door announces Emily's arrival. My cousin breezes in carrying a crystal bowl of cranberry sauce, her silver hair caught up in a messy twist. "I brought Diane's recipe," she says, then pauses, taking in the transformed space. "Hannah Brooks Walsh, look at you shining." The words catch me off guard. I haven't thought of myself that way, but she's right. Our apartment gleams with small touches of pride I'd never allowed before. Framed wedding photos, bright throw pillows, a wall of academic achievements Liam insisted we display together. "The student you're mentoring called," Liam says, coming in from the patio. "Natalie wanted to thank you for helping her stand up to that colleague who kept taking credit for her work." Heat rises in my cheeks. Last month, I'd found Natalie crying in the break room. Another victim of workplace boundaries crossed. The words had come surprisingly easily. "You don't have to make yourself smaller to make others feel big." The doorbell rings again. Aunt Cheryl enters with a burst of November air, immediately wrapping me in a lavender-scented hug. Behind her, our closest friends file in bearing dishes and warm greetings. The chosen family we've built, one authentic connection at a time. "I got a card from your mother yesterday," Aunt Cheryl mentions later, helping me arrange place settings. Her tone stays carefully neutral. "She asked about you." The familiar twist of guilt rises, then settles. After the wedding, Diane and Madison's relationship finally fractured. My sister moved to Florida, leaving my mother to face her own enabling patterns. The weekly messages Diane sends now come with no demands, no guilt trips. Just brief updates and one consistent closing line: "I'm learning too." "She's welcome back in my life," I say, smoothing a leaf-patterned tablecloth. "When she's ready to see me as I am, not who she needs me to be." Liam appears in the doorway, tablet in hand. Video call from the Sullivan family. Our friends crowd around as the screen fills with familiar faces, the family that hosted us on our honeymoon when a storm grounded flights. They'd taken in 2 stranger newlyweds and shown us what healthy family love looks like. Now they're honorary grandparents, sending weekly updates about their garden and grandkids. As everyone settles around our table, I find myself at the head, a position I'd have automatically yielded months ago. The late afternoon sun slants across faces bright with conversation and laughter. No one is making themselves smaller. No one is measuring their joy against another's pain. Liam squeezes my hand as I rise to make a toast. My father's watch, pinned inside my sweater, rests warm against my heart. "To family," I say, lifting my glass. "The ones we're born to, and the ones we choose. To boundaries that build bridges to our truest selves. To joy that doesn't ask permission to shine." The grandfather clock strikes 5, each chime ringing with possibility. On the bookshelf behind me, our wedding album stands proudly beside a childhood photo of my father and me. In the glass, I catch my reflection, past and present overlapping, both versions finally standing tall. This is what healing looks like. I realize, not the absence of scars, but the presence of growth. Not the denial of what was, but the courage to choose what could be. I look around at these beloved faces, each one a mirror reflecting back my undiminished light. Some lines, once drawn, remake everything that follows. On this canvas of chosen family and reclaimed joy, we paint our future in colors of truth. The warmth of belonging rises like a tide, and for the first time in my life, I let it lift me without guilt. I am my father's daughter, my husband's wife, my own woman. All these truths expanding together in the space I've finally claimed as mine. "More pie?" Liam asks, already reaching for my plate. "Yes," I say, the word ringing clear as a bell. Yes to everything that makes this life shine brighter.